Week 2 of the NFL season is here, and with it comes a sense of urgency that's uniquely football. Unlike baseball, where standings barely matter until July, or basketball and hockey, where half the teams make the playoffs, the NFL is unforgiving. Starting 0-2 is often a death sentence for postseason hopes. Since 1990, only 32 of 279 teams that began 0-2 have made the playoffs. This week, several highly regarded teams face that exact scenario, including the Chiefs, Lions, and Ravens. But here's where it gets controversial. Can these teams rebound, or will early stumbles define their season? Let's dive into the key matchups that will decide 5 of the biggest games this weekend. 1. Jaguars 1-0 at Bengals 1-0, the battle of the unbeatens. Spread, Cincinnati minus 3.5. Key matchup, Jacksonville's pass rush versus Joe Burrow. Key stat, and the Bengals allowed Burrow to be hit 7 times in Week 1. When? 1 p.m. ET Sunday, CBS. 2 undefeated teams collide at Paycor Stadium. But the real story is whether Jacksonville's defense can replicate the Browns' blueprint. Last week, Cleveland stifled Burrow in the second half, collapsing his pocket and holding the Bengals to just 7 yards. The Jaguars, who managed only 1 sack against the Panthers, need Josh Allen and Travon Walker to step up. But here's the twist. Burrow isn't Bryce Young, and he's only thrown 15 interceptions in the past 2 seasons combined. If Jacksonville can't pressure Burrow, their corners will face a daunting task against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And this is the part most people miss. Jacksonville's blitz rate under new coordinator Anthony Campanile remains low, which could play right into Cincinnati's hands. Verdict: Bengals 27, Jaguars 24. Bears 0-1 at Lions 0-1. The NFC North basement battle. Spread: Detroit minus 4.5. Key matchup: passing attacks versus opposing secondaries. Key stat: the Lions recorded 0 pressures in Week 1. When? 1 p.m. Eastern Time, September 14th. Fox. Both teams are desperate for a win after divisional losses. But which quarterback will find their rhythm first? Caleb Williams started strong in his debut, but struggled with accuracy, posting the highest bad throw percentage, 25.7% in Week 1. Meanwhile, Jared Goff's average depth of target was a league-low 4.2 yards per attempt. The Lions' offensive line, a new trio featuring rookie Tate Ratledge, looked shaky against the Packers, allowing 4 sacks. If Detroit's front 4 can't generate pressure on Williams, the Bears might exploit their secondary. But here's the controversial take. Is Williams ready to carry a team, or will his rookie mistakes cost Chicago again? Verdict: Lions 24, Bears 19. Eagles 1-0 at Chiefs 0-1. The Super Bowl licks rematch. Spread: Philadelphia minus 1.5. Key matchup: Kansas City's RBs and TE versus Philadelphia's defense. Key stat: Travis Kelce has topped 100 receiving yards just once in his last 26 games. When? 4:25 p.m. Eastern, September 14th, Fox. The Chiefs are reeling after a loss to the Chargers and injuries to key receivers. Without Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, Patrick Mahomes will rely on Marquise Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. But the bigger question is, can Kansas City's run game and Travis Kelce step up? The Chiefs ranked 22nd in rushing last year, and Kelce hasn't been his dominant self recently. Philadelphia's defense, led by Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, will look to exploit Kansas City's offensive line, which allowed 9 pressures in Week 1. If the Chiefs can't run effectively, the Eagles could dominate again. But here's the counterpoint. Is Philadelphia's defense truly as formidable without Josh Sweat and Milton Williams? Verdict: Eagles 27, Chiefs 23. Buccaneers 1-0 at Texans 0-1. The ground game showdown. Houston minus 2. Key matchup: Bucs run game versus Houston's front. Key stat: Tampa Bay ranked 2nd in yards per carry in 2024, but struggled in Week 1. When? 7 p.m. Eastern Time, September 15th. ESPN. Tampa Bay's rushing attack was nearly non-existent against the Falcons, with Bucky Irving managing just 37 yards on 14 carries. This week they face a Texans front that held the Rams to 2.9 yards per carry. Without all-pro tackle Tristan Wirfs, the Bucs must find a way to protect Baker Mayfield and establish the run. Houston's edge rushers, Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, will look to capitalize. But if Irving gets going, the Texans' secondary could be in trouble. The real question, can Houston's defense contain Tampa Bay's explosive offense without a strong pass rush? Verdict: Buccaneers 22, Texans 16, 5. Chargers 1-0 at Raiders 1-0. The coaching chess match. The Los Angeles 2.5. Key matchup: Jesse Minter, Chargers DC. Chip Kelly, Raiders OC. The Raiders threw for 362 yards last week, their most since 2022. 10 p.m. ET, September 15th. ESPN: Geno Smith lit up the Patriots in his Raiders debut. But can he do it again against Jesse Minter's stingy defense? The Chargers allowed the fewest points per game last season, thanks to Minter's situational schemes. However, Las Vegas's offense, led by coordinator Chip Kelly, will test their secondary. The Chargers must find a way to pressure the immobile Smith, even without a star pass rusher. But here's the thought-provoking question. Can Minter outsmart Kelly, or will the Raiders' aerial attack prove too much? Verdict: Raiders 24, Chargers 23. Final thought. Which of these matchups do you think will be the most decisive? And do you agree with the verdicts, or are there upsets brewing? Let's debate in the comments.